The average Social Security check in 2025 is $1,976 a month. That's not a fortune. In most American cities, it covers rent and not much else. But in the right zip code, that number changes completely. Not barely scraping by enough, actually. Have a life enough. Today, we're going through 8 towns where that check covers rent, groceries, a car payment, and still leaves room for something that isn't dread. Just numbers, honest trade-offs, and a few things worth knowing before you pack. Number 8. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Median rent around $676 a month. Cost of living 21% below the national average. New Mexico doesn't tax Social Security income, and low-income seniors qualify for property tax rebates on top of that. The town sits on a network of geothermal hot springs, public soaking facilities that charge less than a fast food combo and actually do something for your body. Here's what nobody puts in the headline. Summer in T or C is not weather. It's a verdict. The kind of heat where leaving the house before 6 a.m. feels like a survival decision, not a lifestyle choice. If you run hot, this town is not your friend from June through September. But if you can handle dry heat and zero pretense, $1,976 a month genuinely means something here. Picture this. Early morning, steam rising off a mineral pool, air still cool enough to breathe properly, rent paid, joints not hurting, biggest decision of the day is how long to stay in the water. That's not a vacation, that's Tuesday. The next town has a 200-ton boulder chained to a cliff above it, and somehow that's still not the weirdest thing about living there. Number 7. Pineville, Kentucky. Rent averages $500 to $650 for a one-bedroom. Cost of living 28% below the national average. Kentucky doesn't tax Social Security. Own a home and you're 65 or older. The state knocks $46,350 off your assessed property value before they calculate what you owe. That's not a rounding error. That's a real number. The boulder above town is genuinely chained to the mountain. There's a plaque. It says the rock was secured to protect the town below. Make of that what you will. One honest note before you pack. Internet access in rural Appalachia varies wildly by street address, not county average. Check the actual provider coverage at the specific unit you're renting. Car registration in Kentucky runs under $100 a year. Vet access exists, but is limited. Internet, present, not fast. Picture this. Porch, morning fog rolling through the valley. An old dog at your feet, the chained rock just doing its job on the hillside. Some problems really can be held together with enough stubbornness. The next town fossilized its entire landscape and charges nothing to walk through it. Number 6. John Day, Oregon, population 1,700. Rent $600 to $750 a month. Oregon has no state sales tax. It's quiet, but it compounds. Seniors on limited income can legally defer property taxes until the property is sold. The local hospital district serves the community regardless of your bank account size. The town borders the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument. 45 million years of geology, no entrance fee, rarely another person in sight. Here's the honest filter for this town. The question isn't, will I miss nightlife? Most people watching this gave up nightlife years ago, probably around the same time the cover charge stopped making sense. The real question is, can you live with slow, inconsistent internet? In John Day, the answer is, you'll manage, but plan for it before you arrive. If your retirement filter is low cost, no sales tax, and a hospital that won't turn you away, John Day clears all 3. The Canyon is a bonus. The next town has a walkable downtown, a historic train station, and is still the single cheapest city in its entire state. Number 5. Cumberland, Maryland. Cost of living 18% below the national average, and 23% below Maryland's own state average. One-bedroom rent around $700 a month. Median home price $130,000, in a state where the statewide median is over $400,000. Maryland doesn't tax Social Security for most retirees. The downtown has been pedestrian redesigned, is ADA accessible, and has a hospital system that actually functions for a town this size. Honest caveat: Cumberland's crime rate runs above the national average. That's not disqualifying, but it means you research specific streets before signing anything. South Cumberland and LaVale are consistently cited as the quieter, more affordable pockets. For a retiree on a fixed income, $700 rent in a walkable town with a functioning hospital and no Social Security tax is not a compromise. It's a plan. The next entry trades freight trains for folk music and costs even less. Number 4. Mountain View, Arkansas. Cost of living 15%, below the national average, housing 20% below. Arkansas doesn't tax Social Security. Seniors 65 and over qualify for homestead exemptions and low-income property tax credits. Violent crime rate roughly 1/3 of the national average, not a typo. There is free live bluegrass music on the courthouse steps every week. That is a real thing that happens. You don't need a streaming subscription. You need a porch chair and a short walk. One hidden cost nobody puts in the headline: Arkansas summers are genuinely brutal, and your July electricity bill will be the most honest thing in your mailbox. Air conditioning here isn't optional, it's infrastructure. Budget for it the way you'd budget for rent. Picture this. Porch swing, someone across the street playing fiddle worse than they think they can. Everyone in earshot applauding anyway. No commute, no debt, nowhere you have to be. The next town is colder, cheaper, and comes with a warning worth hearing. Number 3. Bluefield, West Virginia. Median rent $420 to $700 depending on the unit. As much as 74% below the national average. Cost of living 17% below. West Virginia has been phasing out Social Security income tax since 2022, and most retirees now pay nothing on those benefits. The area qualifies as a rural healthcare access zone, which in practice means better options than you'd expect. 2 things to know. Rental inventory here is thin, so you may search a while before finding something available. Visit before you commit to anything remote. And the town's altitude-driven climate is not marketing. July averages 64 degrees. If you're relocating from Texas or Florida, that's not a slogan, that's a reason. If you've spent years somewhere expensive and loud, 64 degrees in July and rent under $700 isn't a downgrade. It's the correction. The next town is even cheaper, but it comes with a math problem most retirement videos never finish solving. Number 2. Valentine, Nebraska. Median rent around $550. Median home price $115,000. Cost of living 25% below the national average. Nebraska does tax Social Security, but senior property tax relief programs cut the real out-of-pocket number considerably. Niobrara River, kayaking, fishing, a Dairy Queen that closes at 9 p.m. No Target, no Trader Joe's, no Uber. One thing that rarely makes it into the rent calculation: you need a car, and a car costs money. Registration, insurance, gas, maintenance. In a town with no public transit and no ride share, that's not a footnote. It's part of the budget. Run the full number, not just the rent. With everything included, $1,976 still works in Valentine. It just works less automatically than the rent figure alone suggests. Run the full number. Rent, car, insurance, groceries. In Valentine, it still works. That's rarer than it sounds. Number 1. Presidio, Texas. Median rent around $580. Cost of living 30% below the national average. Texas has no state income tax, none, on anything. Social Security, pension, investment income, all of it stays yours at the state level. Property taxes freeze at 65 under Texas law. Crime rate is low. Cross-border grocery runs are standard practice, and locals have decades of experience making $1 work like $2. Eyes open warning. Presidio is 3 hours from the nearest full-size grocery store. Internet is limited and improving slowly. Summers push past 100 degrees, and the wind doesn't cool you. It just redistributes the problem. Specialist medical care means a long drive. This is not a soft landing. It is a town for people who have decided deliberately to stop performing modern American life and start actually living something quieter and cheaper. For those people, specifically, this might be the one. Picture this: adobe walls, desert sunrise, the smell of sagebrush, not a single horn honking anywhere. Rent is $580. Your check has money left at the end of the month. That's not a loophole. That's just Texas at the right longitude.